people. Now, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending where on the day they watch us. So now, welcome to Obidati Family TV, the program I Hope Alive. Today we get this session. Before we go do another one, we want make we bring some better information. We just they enter where we want to make we digest first in a very short way. As you know, on Saturday, we bring about the close of the bundle of evidence where P2B take finish matter for court on Friday. That is that first half where we talk. Like we see Beaver's report where plenty way don't draw for inside court. The IREV reports boku for inside court. Video exhibits where he show polling unit result plenty. Shetima double nomination. So many websites don't enter court, as we know. Now, we will take brief this thing for 1 minute. When we come back, we won't dive into the fact or fiction of these certificates forgeries of Tinubu. And the NYSC certificate, we want to know, is it a fact or is it a fiction? What are the legal consequences? What don't happen before for this kind matter? Now we want to tackle real quick to bring you the facts and the fact check waiting as it take be. People when they follow me for this program to do a quick now. Angel follow me for studio and we get Dr. Telbert for Zoom.
My people. Good day to all of you, my well-meaning Nigerians and obedient people. Hope say una dey well. This is another new week, and we will be glad because we are still alive, because na hope alive. For this case, we don't win already. Now make the judiciary declare us. We know say you go get to Supreme Court, but we dey gidigba. Our LP lawyers, they dey gidigba. Make una chillax, relax, because we get it. Let's continue. Okay,
so we'll get to Dr. Etel on Zoom. But before then, make we take how the analysis, small analysis of how it take end the other day before we enter to that very certificate forgery and the facts and the functions where we say they inside there.
The Election Petition Court has admitted certified copies of academic and work records of President Bola Tinubu tendered by the People's Democratic Party (PDP) and its candidate Atiku Abubakar. The documents include a BSc certificate from the Chicago State University, NYSC discharge certificate, and Mobile Nigeria Oil PLC certificate of service. The PDP had brought the documents through their subpoenaed witness, Mike Enahoro Eba, who is a private legal practitioner. He notes that the documents were purportedly obtained by Tinubu, but bore the name Bola Adekunle Tinubu. Led in evidence by the lead counsel to PDP, Chris Uche, the witness also tendered forms, EC 13-9 nomination forms, and the letters written to the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as attachments. Counsel to INEC, Abubakar Mahmoud Tinubu, Emmanuel Ukala, and the APC, Lateef Fagbemi, all objected to the admissibility of the documents. The lead counsel to PDP applied to tender these documents, and all the respondents objected to the admissibility of the documents. The witness also tendered academic records from Chicago University, a copy of the subpoena served on the Chicago University, the original academic records and degree certificate, original admission letter, original transcript from Southwest College to the school Tinubu attended, given to Chicago University, with the gender referred to as female. He also tendered notarized judgment of USA for criminal forfeiture of assets of Tinubu and the cover note authorizing it. Also, an extract of Guinea passport and the certificate of compliance for Tinubu.
So now don't hear all the big things we be say they against Tinubu for court, and those things they're very glaring. So we won't look at what are functions, what are the facts, and all the other things where they follow. So Dr. Etel, where they for Zoom, go help us do credit to this very particular thing, because for that very Friday as then take end, we get one this thing, certificates of exemption from NYSC. Now, this very certificate of exemption from NYSC is said to be given in 1983. 1983. Now, that very, let me even take you to Dr. Etel. Dr. Etel, I think it's on the screen. As you say, your mouth won't start the thing already. Your mouth, they do mui. It's Dr. Etel. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Good morning and good day, everybody, wherever you are.
If you can hear me now.
Yeah,
yes, can you? Yes, I said I'm greeting everybody, and I say it's good to be here today. What I am seeing here on the screen is a certificate of national service issued in November 12th, I suppose. No, he served
1999.
1990. No, this was issued 1983.
Okay, no. Yes. 1983,
this is certificate
exactly.
Certificate of national service issued December 1983. So this is not exemption. Exemption will be written exemption. It means that this person, the bearer of this certificate, was serving. The Tinubu Bola Adekunle served up until December 11th, 1983. If my memory serves me right, it was in the night of December 31st, 1983, that the military took over, Buhari's military took over government from Alhaji Shehu Shagari, which means that when election was going on in 1983, that this person was serving, he was probably one of the FEDECO's polling unit officers, Federal Election Commission. Why I'm saying this is because there is no way people who served in 1983 will not be existing today in Nigeria. There is no way people who served in 1983, because as at that particular time in 1983, I do know that my elder brother finished his, was already going into the university then. So where are the people in this batch who served? Where are the people who have this NYSC batch code that served? Whom one of them happened to be Tinubu Bola Adekunle. That is number one I would want our people to take note of. The next thing I would want our people to take note of is the fact that this certificate was submitted to INEC in 1999, prior to the election of Bola Tinubu as the governor of Lagos State, according to Premier.
There's something I want to add. It is said that this NYC certificate of 1983 is that he served in Ibadan. I just wanted to point it out.
That's what I'm saying.
Again, I want you to reflect on the 2023 presidential, that in the INEC nomination form that they presented on Friday, that they call it another exemption letter. It is no longer this very letter. I just wanted to bring those things to you.
I am coming up there. Now, as we can see here, that this same person who later became a governor from 1999 to 2007, had presented a certificate to INEC that he served. 24 years later, another certificate of exemption was presented. One couldn't have served and at the same time got an exemption later. So there is a confusion here. And that sparks in my head immediately what happened in February 2020 in Bayelsa State, where the Supreme Court knocked off APC governorship governor-elect, Bayelsa State governor-elect. He was rehearsing for his swearing in the next day when the Supreme Court dropped the hammer that the deputy governor-elect, who happens to be APC, that there were inconsistencies in the certificate that he presented to INEC. And because of that, they knocked him off, and PDP was sworn in the next day. Now, if we move this forward now, remember what we said on Saturday. If you take note of the fact that the person in question turned 71 years, according to what we are told, turned 71 years in this 2023, and that he graduated in 1969, according to information that we have. If we do the maths, it will show that actually he graduated when he was 27 years. And it's that someone who graduated at 27 did not serve when he was 27, when he was 28, when he was 29. He now decided to come and serve at 1983. Okay, fine. If he served at 1983, it means that he was more than 30 years at that particular time. So he couldn't have served after being greater than 30 years. Now he has submitted an exemption certificate. Unfortunately, people who are doing this thing have forgotten that the exemption certificate provision was an act that came, NYSC Act, that came into effect in 1985. So the question is it possible for us to get exemption after, even before the law came into existence? This is another challenge. So we can see inconsistency here. Another inconsistency, which is the third one, is the inconsistency in the names. We do know that the name of the degree certificate coming from Chicago State University shows that we are dealing with a name, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Ahmed Tinubu, not Adekunle. Even if Adekunle in Hausa, in Yoruba, means Ahmed in Arabic, we do not know that that is not the way it appears in certificates. So the question is, did this candidate change from Ahmed after graduating from Chicago State University to Adekunle, and then after doing NYSC, changed back again to Ahmed? If that was the case, fine. Where are the affidavit of fact that shows all this legal change of names from Ahmed to Adekunle and from Adekunle back to Ahmed? Why I am saying this is because it is this kind of inconsistencies in the change of name from first school living certificate to SSCE that cost APC the governorship seat in Bayelsa State. Anybody who has read the law, it says there, let me read the case of Bayelsa State. It said, barely 24 hours to the inauguration of Bayelsa State Governor-elect, Mr. David Loyne of the All Progressive Congress, the Supreme Court sacked him as the state governor-elect. The 5-member panel of the Apex Court, in the unanimous judgment delivered by Justice Ejembi Eko, nullified the nomination and participation of Leon and his running mate, Bayo Barakuma Degi Eremienyo, in the November 16, 2019 governorship election, because the Apex Court held that the running mate of the governor-elect submitted forged and inconsistent credentials to INEC. They held that there was no connection between the name on the candidate school living certificate and the first degree and the master's degree and the affidavit that he swore. The Court of Appeal had actually given judgment in favor of APC, but the Supreme Court quashed their hope because of inconsistency with the names in the first school living certificate and in the BA and in the master's degrees. So how do we handle this inconsistency? And Supreme Court, when we say we have our hope very, very, very much alive, is because whether you like our judiciary or not, they have shown us what they can do in this kind of inconsistency. And so this is case number one. So I leave it like this and let's progress. I have some other things to say with respect to certificate forgery, but let's keep it this way.
Yeah, I wanted to also mention to you that Justice Chidi, who is still in Supreme Court, they sacked one Christian Abba from Federal House of Representatives because he presented a forged certificate from Federal Polytechnic Mubi, Adamawa State.
2017. That was even at the PDP level. The court threw him out because he forged an OND certificate. But the one that is even more impactful, in fact, give me 2 minutes to run through it because it brings out the ingredients and the juice of our constitution. That was the case of Issa Mohammed Wabu of ANPP versus Honorable Mohammed Garba Gololo of APC, Gamawa Federal Constituency in Bauchi State. This was in 2019, after the 2019 election. What happened here was that this Mohammed Garba Gololo had submitted, according to the judgment, a forged BSc certificate from LASU, a forged NYC discharge certificate, and also the LASU, he said, was that he graduated in 2002, an NYC certificate that he was discharged in 2003, and then LASU MBA, which he claimed to have gotten in 2005. It was so funny because the trial court, the tribunal, gave judgment in favor of Mohammed Gololo. Why? They said that initially the tribunal dismissed the case, claiming that the petitioner Issa Mohammed of ANPP did not prove beyond reasonable doubt that the certificates were forged. The tribunal also held that even if the BSc, MBA, or NYC discharge certificates were to be forged, he cannot be disqualified since he had the minimum requirement of Section 65 of the 1999 Constitution by reason of the senior school certificate, SSCE. That was what the tribunal did and gave judgment in favor of this guy who forged certificates. But when he got to the appeal court, the appellate court submitted that the petitioner, which is ANPP guy, proved beyond reasonable doubt that the allegations of disqualification of the first respondent, which is Gololo, for presenting forged documents were acceptable. According to the appeal court, he said the best evidence to prove false certificate is a report from the institution. And according to the court, it is irrelevant whether it was the respondent or any other person that forged the certificate, as long as it was forged. Meaning, let me explain this. Assuming somebody claimed to have really gone to do NYSC, but somehow or the other, he entered to go and collect his certificate, and somebody mistakenly gave him a forged certificate. As long as it is not authentic, even if he served, he will be treated as if he forged the certificate. Now, they said again that they argued that their case was that the first respondent did not attend LASU and did not participate in NYSC program, and so was not issued any certificate at all by any of these institutions. But funny enough, the appeal court then finally held that Section 65 of the Constitution, which the trial court, the tribunal, depended to say, even if he forged a certificate which was mentioned in Section 66, that Section 65 covered him because he has the minimum. But look at what the appeal court said. It said Section 65 of the Constitution is subordinate to Section 66, which makes presentation of forged certificate by any candidate to INEC a disqualifying factor. So it is immaterial whether the person, the Mohammed Gololo of APC, possessed the minimum requirement of SSCE or not, as long as there is any other document that was forged, whether it is NEPA bill or tax clearance certificate, he is automatically disqualified. So they gave these rulings. Number one, it says, in resolving the sole issue, the court held that the appellant that succeeded in their allegation of the disqualification because it says on the ground that having presented a forged document, he does not have to prove that he was the one who actually forged it. Doesn't matter whether he forged it or not, but what he presented was forged. All they need to prove, according to court, beyond reasonable doubt, is that the document that was presented were forged. That is all they need to prove. And the only way to prove it is to get the institution to write and say, we did not issue this certificate. Now, the challenge they had, which is making our case so beautiful for us, is that this man, this guy that PDP subpoenaed, had gone to USA, got a notary public that subpoenaed Chicago State University, and Chicago State University has said that that certificate that we saw online, that is not the one they issued. They gave him a copy of the certificate they issued. So there are two certificates now in Nigeria, one that was submitted by INEC, which the university say is not their certificate, and the one that was not submitted by INEC, which the lawyer was able to get from the university, as we can see here online. Now, the court says here that is even possible. There are two ways forgery can occur. They say the one way says the act of making a false document or altering a genuine one for the same purpose is known as forgery. Meaning, it is possible. I am not saying for now that the president that is currently our president in Nigeria, I'm not saying he did not attend Chicago State University, but I am saying that the certificate he submitted to INEC, according to the fact that is coming from Chicago State University, that there is a doubt in it, and according to Supreme Court ruling, that will not fly. Okay.
The other thing I was bringing up that very time is just making things very clear, since we are talking about whether these are facts or fiction. 1999 is very, very clear what we have shown and you have explained that Tinubu put in that he finished his NYSC in 1983 and that he served in Ibadan. I mean, that is what you have shown on the screen, that he went to NYSC and he was given a discharge certificate, which he presented to INEC as at 1999. Now, I want you to look at the other one. In 2023, he did the same certificate, that discharge certificate he submitted in 1999 when he was going. He submitted another exemption letter. Now, the issue, putting the facts clearly, because this one is happening in Nigeria, not be the thing where we say they happen for America, now for Nigeria. So I want you to look at it from the perspective of 2023. We now have an exemption letter. What about that letter of discharge where you submit in 1999? We're still there with INEC. INEC know they see road. And again, I want you, while you answer this, I want you to also check that exemption letter started in 1985 and not 1993. Thank you.
The statement of the Supreme Court judges in the case of Christian Abba that you mentioned, the Supreme Court said, Nigeria will be doomed when certificate forgers are allowed to take center stage in the elections for political offices. The court also said that that Abba must not be allowed to have his way because he has had his hand soiled in an established certificate forgery. He said that whenever somebody like Abba is caught, he must pay. Meaning, people may have succeeded. Like this Issa Mohammed Wabu and Garba Gololo. In 2015, Mohammed Garba Gololo used these 3 forged certificates to get to House of Representatives. And he served out 4 years. But when he returned in 2019, it touched Issa Mohammed to challenge it, and he paid dearly for it. Why I'm saying it is that, no problem. If someone had succeeded in 1999, now the wind has blown, and everything that is hidden is inconsistencies, as I have said, has muddled up things. Remember, there are 3 kinds of inconsistency I've mentioned here. Inconsistency in name, inconsistency in the kind of certificate from having been discharged in 1983, which was submitted in 1999, and now being exempted, which is submitted in 2023. And all these things are documents. In fact, INEC could be subpoenaed to produce what is in their file for this candidate when he was a governor. And that is to show inconsistency in what he has been submitting to INEC. And all these things are maligning the name of another credible institution like NYSC. So what it means here is that if we look at the precedents of what all the courts in Nigeria, especially the appeal court and the Supreme Court, this case is a plus to us because it is a child. That Adekunle does not mean Ahmed, 1. And it is also obvious to every child that when you say that someone is exempt, it means that that person has been freely given a pass not to participate in something. So, which one do we take? The exemption? And if you look at the exemption, you realize that the age when the person graduated does not qualify him to be exempt. Because if you graduate before you're 30 and you didn't serve, you can't be given exemption certificate. I participated in NYSC and I know the rule. And if we are to take the one where he say he served based on when he graduated, according to the certificate from the university we see, then there is an issue. So it is just like then our electoral process is not a stage where people go to act movie. If it is a fact, then who we have there should not be in power because these facts are complicating and indicting. Is that good?
Okay. Yes, Dr. Ete, thank you for making this very, very clear. Facts and fictions, that's what we are looking at. When APC told P2B to go to court, they thought it will be business as usual. Unfortunately, it's not business. The person will be customer. Now you ask them, you go. You don't pack everything, go court, and it go happen. Meanwhile, I just want to make we look at for international community, for our brothers for outside the international. Now P2B then they use as reference points. Make una see the kind of leadership the person forgive us or Ingo give us. Make we work out the go, but make we see waiting then the talk for international community. Where our own media no one talk, make we see them. Let's take a listen.
I have always referred to Peter Obi. When he lost the election, we all know the promise he held when the elections were being conducted, and almost everybody who is anything in Nigeria do their support. But when the results came out otherwise, he didn't call his supporters to the street to wreak havoc. He took the legal path, and then by that way he was able to save his country from chaos. So we will encourage all of our politicians to learn from that example. Leadership is about self-restraint, and leadership is about selflessness. So we expect that our politicians will demonstrate this I mean, the process has been peaceful so far, so let us continue to be peaceful and to promote the interests of our country. Thank you all.
I hear from people from Sierra Leone, how then they use P2B, they give lecture, saying so leadership supposed be. So my people, as they follow P2B, they go, and as the case they progress, they go, in talk say in gates this thing for the judiciary. That is, he get hope from the judiciary, say they go give a mandate. And we go to follow am. So this fact where we don't bring come, we go to bring more things. This is the place you come. And we give you, we break it down, make you for understand them how it take be. There is no hidden place for people who say they don't do bad thing. From 1999, in all those things we don't hide, it go open, and even the justice they no get waiting, then go fall back on, because the evidence they're very, very overwhelming. For INEC, yes, quickly please.
Something about the media, why they are not carrying this. I am laughing. Let me tell you something. All over the world today, what is called mainstream media are nothing but people who are just politically correct in whatever they want to say, because their paymasters are politicians. All the big media houses in the world, including in Nigeria. Remember, there was a program we had when David Kundein told us here, he worked in Nigeria, in the mainstream media in Nigeria, and out of annoyance, he left. Because they don't want to report what is the real news. They only report the toned-down news that will not step on the toes of their political paymasters. And that is what is happening in Nigeria. You can imagine what happened in the presidential election petition court last week. The kind of deluge of information that was pushed out, the forgery, the forensic experts. You see how our news network carried it? 10 minutes, they just mentioned it and they move on. They move on. They were ready to tell us about Titanic submersible that submerged in America. They were ready to tell us about what is happening in Ukraine. But we are news, information of how politicians are strangulating us is being carried by other people outside Nigeria. People like us, podcasters all over the world, are the people who are carrying real and genuine news these days. Mainstream medias don't want to lose their meal tickets. And I want us to know that until people begin to realize that what we're doing here is to give them what is called research-based news, empirically research-based news, they will not get to hear what is happening. It's so surprising and so discouraging how the mainstream media in Nigeria, they just tap and they just chase after the wind and go. They don't care whether we are. Imagine that someone who is sitting on the seat of the president of Nigeria, that this kind of information was produced and made public in the court, and it is not the headline in the news. That tells you that our mainstream media in Nigeria in itself is rigged. And thank God we're here to give alternative.
Okay. I think with that very one, we will begin the wind down. Before we go, the thing where they vex me with INEC chairman still they vex me, and you get some people will be saying they share my opinion. The one when I like now, the one where Chidoka talk for channels, make on hear as in take talk make we for the Vano they go. Time don't they give us signal. I beg producer, put us waiting Chidoka talk about INEC chairman. How intake put them before I go talk my own.
In another few days. What do you make of INEC's decision to do that?
INEC has no capacity to do that. INEC is a disappointment as an agency. The INEC chairman and the INEC executive, I'm totally disappointed in them. I do not trust any process that will come from them.
If you had your way, what would you do with INEC?
I will remove the INEC chairman immediately.
What would you say? On what basis?
For just not delivering on the electoral process, for not just delivering, for creating this kind of system where the elections that has happened in this country, the whole international community that observed it said something was wrong with this election. This election did not meet the standards. 2015 remains a watershed. 2019 was less than 2015, and 2023...
My people, where is Mahmoud? Where is Mahmoud? He needs to come out. Come 3rd of July, we need to push Mahmoud out. He needs to come and give us how he arrived to the figures he announced. He needs to come out starting July 3rd when the court resumes. We will get prepared for him. Until we come your way again in the evening time, make Angel to talk her own small, make we foreclose, because in the evening we'll come back, make we bring some other things for now.
My obedient people, my well-meaning Nigerians, wahala boku, wahala plenty on top Tinubu's head. INEC chairman, whether you like him or not, you must come out. Your shame don't they even shame me. I don't know about others. But INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakub, he shame, they shame me. Because the mess where he do, I don't know the year where he go clear. Even when he go prison, come out, you never do. Because more than 200 million Nigeria, you just dash their hopes inside gutter. But no wahala, all eyes on judiciary. Whether we go get our mandate, in a must, we go get them. Judiciary must do the needful. They must write their name in gold. Their integrity, their dignity is at stake. Because he no go judge Bayelsa own, come out and for seat. Then he get to presidency, he go begin to do anyhow. No, we no go take him. We Nigerians are wiser now. We are wiser. That's why they said they are messing with the wrong generation. Because all those things where they think say they don't hide, we go bring her out, dig her out, show them for face, say we are no longer children. My people, like, subscribe and share. Till we come in the evening, take care of yourself. We love you. God loves you more. Bye for now.